Hello there, a very good evening to you. You're live here on GHOne TV. It's now time for News Tonight with me, Natalie Fort. Coming up this evening, striking colleges of education teachers unbothered by decision to freeze their salaries for July as they meet on Friday to decide the way forward after meeting with the Education Minister.
I do not see the seizure of July salary as anything that bothered us so much.
Also coming up, security analysts unhappy with recent clashes between personnel of security agencies. He wants stakeholders to deal swiftly with the creeping menace. Also ahead, Child Rights International commences investigations into circumstances that led to the death of a student of the Ghana National College.
They dispense certain drugs to their own colleagues to take without any medical direction. And for me, that is dangerous, and our system should be able to look at that.
And in politics, Volta Regional MPP accuses opposition NDC in the area of stirring tribal sentiments against the president. Ahead in business, government urged to pay attention to young innovators. We've got the details of these and much more news here on News Tonight. Do stay. Let's settle for the details now here on News Tonight on GHOne TV. Our bulletin is available all across the world. You can watch us on Facebook and X at GHOne TV. Let's get started this evening. Non-governmental human rights organization Child Rights International has expressed concern about the rate of deaths in senior high boarding schools due to medical negligence of school authorities. This comes after family of the third-year science student of the Ghana National College who died upon admission at the Cape Coast Teaching Hospital on July 6, petitioned Child Rights International to investigate the circumstances leading to the death of the late Theophilus Ansah. The family suspects Theophilus died due to a delay in medical intervention and lack of proper health care in his school, highlighting the disturbing trend of reported cases of child fatalities in schools between February 2024 to July 2024. Executive Director of Child Rights International, Bright Appiah, called for essential policy reforms to modify the regime system in secondary schools, enhance welfare of students, and upgrade medical facilities. He spoke to the media at a briefing.
There is no clear policy and guidelines regarding the operationalization of the exile system. So the issuance of those has just been at the discretion of the system as to determine what issue that they want to issue the exile on, and on what they can refuse, and it has become a discretionary power that they do exercise in the lives of our children, and we think that that should not happen. It's a regime to regulate the conduct of children. It's a regime to maintain a certain level of discipline. So we expect that those things would also be taken into consideration when they issue the exile, especially where the school knows that they owe children the duty of care. So you do not use your own discretion to determine how to issue exile, but we feel that the issuance of exile to have a regulation, and there's the circumstances under which those things must be issued, must cut across. We also realize that sometimes when students go there to access medical care, they don't meet anybody there. They meet their own colleagues who are manning the place, and their own colleagues, they are not professionals to be able to know what is happening. So sometimes they dispense certain drugs to their own colleagues to take without any medical direction. And for me, that is dangerous, and our system should be able to look at that and bring it to a level where it can protect the interest of our children. We want to say that, yes, the call that we have received from the family, we will definitely take the steps that is needed to protect the welfare of our children and to make sure that such things do not happen in our secondary schools.
In other news, a 6-year-old Class 1 pupil has been tortured with electrical cables by his mother at GHOne Dominase in the GHOne East District of the Central Region. Information gathered by Kasapan News' Yabwa Jan revealed that the mother, who is a teacher at GHOne Dominase DAJHS, Madam Fidal, on Thursday, July 25, 2024, in the morning, asked her son to bath and get ready to attend school since the school will vacate on that day. He decided not to go to school, and this made the mother get angry and went to the room to bring electrical cables, hence used it to cane the child. The mother, whilst caning him, beat him well till residents trooped out and rescued the son. After torturing the son, she left him on the floor to suffer in pain. Eyewitnesses who witnessed the brutality condemned the act and reported her to authorities within the community. Though the case has not been reported to the police as at the time of filing the story, but they have promised to report it to the police for further investigation. The child is receiving treatment at the hospital. More on that subsequently. Let's now go on to a developing story from the Kulun-Gugu border in the Pusiga district, where a clash between customs and immigration personnel disrupted operations for over an hour. This altercation has raised questions about interagency cooperation and the procedures for fee collection at our borders.
What do you know? What do you know?
The incident reportedly occurred on Wednesday, July 24, over disagreements concerning the payment of certain border fees. Sources at the border indicate that the altercation began when an importer from Burkina Faso refused to pay a booking fee of 5 cedis demanded by immigration service personnel. The importer had already completed all necessary paperwork with the customs division and believed that the additional payment was unnecessary. Frustrated by the demand, the importer reported the incident to the customs division. Customs personnel then approached the Ghana Immigration Service to facilitate free passage for the importer, arguing that the payment had already been settled. However, this intervention was met with resistance from the Immigration Service personnel, leading to a heated confrontation. The situation escalated into a scuffle between the two state security agencies, lasting over an hour. Despite the tension, no injuries were reported from the altercation. The incident highlights ongoing issues regarding border fee collection and interagency cooperation. This clash underscores the need for clear communication and collaboration between the Customs Division and the Ghana Immigration Service to prevent similar disputes in the future and ensure smooth operations at the border.
Well, let's probe this issue further. We are joined via Zoom by Adib Sani, the Executive Director of Jatike Security Systems, for a conversation on this development. Adib, good evening to you. It's good to have you this evening. Now, rather concerning developments between these two agencies. It's not the first time that we've had personnel of different security agencies clashing. Earlier this year, you would recall we had the military clash with their colleagues within the prison service in Bokwo. As it stands, at this rate, is this something that we should be concerned and worried, in fact, about?
Absolutely. Natalie, like you rightly mentioned, this is becoming one too many. In fact, this is more like an annual ritual. And it is concerning for me because I feel we haven't acted enough to stop this from happening until, God forbid,
right,
an agent gets killed as a result. It, however, brings up other issues, including the level of collaboration amongst the various security services, and of course, the hierarchical structure on the grounds. For example, when you get to the border, you go through a number of checks, some by narcotics, some by immigration, some by perhaps national security officials and all that. So the question is, do we have a structure on the ground that would clearly define what the role of each of the security agency is? So we don't have it overlapping and creating unnecessary confusion that has the tendency of metamorphosing into something violent like we saw in this case. So we need to structure it well. There is the need for better collaboration, possibly. If they can even train together. I do know the training needs for a soldier is different from that of the police, because the police is a peace officer. But if we have special training regimes in which we can bring all of them together, so they know, when I see you, I'll be able to tell, oh, you are a soldier, I'm a policeman. I went through a certain course with you, this year. But they seem not to know each other. They seem not to understand each other's role.
Right.
And most disturbingly, they seem not to trust each other. And I think it is a major issue that needs to be addressed bottom down.
Very well, Sani. Now, you've highlighted, you've suggested a special training regime or exercise where members of these various divisions train together. Will you say that it is also the case of them not understanding, aside not knowing each other, not understanding their roles that they're supposed to be playing at the border, and therefore how to properly communicate together to ensure that it's performed effectively? And what more will you expect from stakeholders as well?
Well, like I indicated, there should be a bottom-up approach to dealing this, okay?
All right.
Every officer within that hierarchy has a role to play. First, we need to know what is the communication channels on the ground, okay? If there is a problem, who do we call? Do we call your boss or we call my boss? There is the need for better structure on the ground. They have to train together. Then, most importantly, the top officials would have to pick this up, talk amongst themselves at the very top, and implement strategies to bridge the gap between the various security services on the ground. In fact, when you go to I have been there, not once, not twice, they seem to be operating in silos. Nobody wants to go into another person's tech,
Right.
That is their issue. It's none of my business. And I think that could jeopardize the security of the state. They need to work in a synergized, more collaborative manner. And I've always even indicated, not just among themselves, but even their international partners. So,
Right.
for example, if you are in a border town, you should also collaborate with the police or the immigration or the custom.
Very well. Adib, Sani, salient points made there. Thank you so much for joining us on this issue. Security analyst Adib Sani on that development. You're watching News Tonight. Let's turn to some other stories this evening. The chief of Banka, a farming community in the Asante Achim district of the Ashanti region, has been jailed by the High Court in Accra for stealing $150,000 belonging to the community. The chief, Osa Berma Chiampama III, was found guilty for stealing by the High Court presided over by Justice Comfort K. Tasiame after full trial. Upon his conviction, he was sentenced to serve 3 months in prison, in addition to 2,000 penalty units, which is equivalent to 24,000 cedis. Justice Tasiame, while sentencing him, said should he default in the payment of the fine, he should serve 5 years in prison. The chief was arrested and charged after heads said to have pocketed the $150,000 a gold mining company, Gulf Coast Resources Company Limited, had given to the community for corporate social responsibility obligations. Some of the community members expressed their joy after the sentencing.
I'm very happy. Yeah, I'm very happy, and thanks to the government of Ghana for dealing with our case, because we have tried several times. Even we sent it to GHOne, but the man couldn't, judge the case for us. Then he told us that this case is rubbish. So we are just wondering how we can get our money from that chief. So until we send it to the High Court before the government of Ghana help us, now we are put the man in jail. 3 months in jail. After the 3 months, you're supposed to pay 240 million. If he failed to pay that money, he's going to 5 years imprisonment. Right now, I've called my people over there, and they are happy. All the people over there are happy now. And we at Accra here too, we are happy. And our brothers in abroad too, they are happy about the conviction.
Which community are we talking about?
I'm talking about Banka community.
Is it?
Banka at Asante Achim South constituency.
How long has this case been pending?
Since 2010, up to date. Today we have the judgment.
Yeah. So you are happy with the decision of?
Very, very happy. I'm very, very happy. I give thanks to the government of Ghana for the process, because we sent the case to GHOne. Banka is under GHOne, under Achima Biakwa. But the Achima Biakwa chief, GHOne Amwatia of Repeni, he couldn't do anything about it. He's just dodging the issue. Until today, the government has given the green lights.
Meniaji pansa ko to adi asema mama. Ama banka mine. If you say asema we course when ye mpanifo na hye ase. Ebi wu ko. Ana ye magunu no. Ya kyerɛ se hu se ekuro no ne like no. Ye nyanka nyankan na se na Yakopon adom na se company ya blaze card ante se na se ye hina atimi atena ne na so diska we de e wo se de bedan aban so da roma asem ne de ka kopi wo kyehina nim wo kyehina ibo ne bia wo kyehina kwatimi ka kyerɛ se asem ne bon ni expectation ko be o ye pani de ko be hwe no akwaye de waka bibia amaye nanso no wo ye de obetimi bia na te se entimi enko emwaye ane de bedan Ghana ban so de niam agu afom e de pen paper eto so amenne ya boss me akwa emu pressure de bebre emu nto kwa ni emu ne ma de bebre ma hu kura to kro so because hin no kwaka na asema o de mekun mebu mechiwatum ye take uni ye se ye wo ka che se so di bi mo be hangi o wiem na no ma de na so Yakopon ti se nipa da sani nti no onu mo mo ko hyem 3 months na ye na ye no ma be di ye na no ye se ye gina he ne central for ye de e di nkomo.
You're watching News Tonight here on GH1 TV. Next, we bring you Insight. This evening, we put focus on labour and education-related issues as striking teachers of the colleges of education say they are not bothered by the decision of the education minister to have their salaries frozen due to their ongoing industrial action. Despite holding a meeting with the minister on Wednesday, which has been described as largely successful, the teachers will decide on whether or not to continue with their action after a council meeting on Friday, 26th of July 2024. Here's Vice President of the Colleges of Education Teachers Association of Ghana, John Newton, speaking to my colleague Joshua Kojo-Mensah earlier on Newsroom.
For us as an association, we do not see the seizure of July salary as anything that bothered us so much. We saw it as a trickle from somewhere, a needless trickle, because we are on a legal strike. So whoever is saying that they want to seize our salaries because we are on an illegal strike, at the right time, that person will have to prove to the masses and to the world. So we are not bothered. So we went into that meeting focusing not on the salary, but on the real issues for which we were invited. So for us, we are going to meet tomorrow, and whether they are going to pay the July salary or not, we don't care. We will decide, and then the world will hear of what we decide on tomorrow.
Well, Vice President of SETAG there saying that they are not bothered by the decision to have their June salaries frozen, and that they will decide as to whether or not to continue with this themselves in spite of the government's decision. Well, let's stay on this issue a while longer. We'll soon be engaging with Labour analyst Austin Gami as well, who has shared his perspective on this development. Well, meanwhile, we've got the National Union of Ghana Students Association also speaking on this development. Well, joining us via Zoom currently is Daniel Opong Treme. He is with the National President of the Union of Ghana Students, that's NUGS. Good evening to you, Daniel. Thank you for joining us this evening, National President of NUGS. I trust you're hearing me clearly. Now, first of all, from where you sit, what's your assessment of this issue and how it's developing, this impasse between the government and SETAG and the freezing of their salaries for the month of July?
All right, so a very good evening to you, and good evening to our listeners, all Ghanaian students who are listening to this very session. I must sincerely submit my displeasure on the happening that is greatly affecting our academic calendar and even distracting the whole student life, for students, especially in the teacher training schools. The issue of the freezing the account of these teachers, we feel it's very quote unquote very unnecessary, because in the heat of event where we are trying to find lasting solutions to this particular impasse, and then GTEC freezes the account of these teachers who are battling with their conditions of service. I clearly understand the happening, but I feel it was it's highly unnecessary at this particular critical moment when we are dealing with such an issue, the magnitude of this particular issue, and then outrightly we freeze the account of these teachers. How then do we then deal with this substantive issue? It's something that generally affecting the academic calendar and everything, and at a point as students, the only thing we want to hear is that our teachers are back. We've been able to restore everything to normalcy, and then the academic calendar has been restored to flow.
Right, Daniel. So you say you express displeasure really with regards to the freezing of the July salaries. And certainly I can only imagine the impact that it will be having on students being at the receiving end of this. Now, with that being said, is that to say that you do not believe that the academic calendar should be annulled, looking at how things are progressing so far?
Please, can you come again?
I'm asking if you are of the view that the academic calendar should be annulled or otherwise, looking at how things are progressing.
All right, so looking at how things are going, we feel not necessarily annulling the academic calendar, but we feel there should be an adjustment. We should open a door for some space to be added to the academic calendar, because if we scrap it off, it totally truncates the academic calendar, which has already been affected by COVID, what have you. So we feel there should be an adjustment. They should have some space. We should have some days, some months. That at the point students will now get to lectures, continue lectures, and all those kind of things. Because as we speak, out of 300 who are on their out program and 400 are now they've gone rented a lot of apartments, different places, and then now because the teachers are on strike, all these amount of money, these few sums of money that has been invested in renting these rooms and all these stuff have all gone wasted. You get it. So if you are now late, you are trying to tell us to go back rent again. So if possibly we could have an adjustment on the academic calendar so that students could adequately prepare themselves for exams, and those who are on the tail end of completing their out programs could then complete, linking it with the space left and also, the kind of investments they've done. So, we are looking at an adjustment of the academic calendar since we are getting indications that there's a likely resolution of this particular issue, so that at the point when we come back, students could also get enough time, attend 1 or 2 lectures, and adequately prepare themselves for exams and all other academic-related activities.
Daniel, thank you so much for joining us this evening. Daniel Opong Treme with Nooks. They're calling for an adjustment, not an annulment, an adjustment of the academic calendar. Meanwhile, the Teacher Trainees Association of Ghana have also been expressing their displeasure, sharing the challenges that they're being faced with as a result of the strike.
Ever since the declaration of the strike action, students have been left to their own fate with no certainty, because the uncertainty in the colleges keeps being on the rise. We don't know when our teachers will be back in the classroom. We are equally left with no adults because we can't even go through books or whatever, because you don't have whatever that the reading material, the course manual. You are aware that the strike came into force on the 14th of June. That was last month.
Right.
And the colleges signed on the 9th of last month. So it's just a week after resumption that teachers were on strike. So reading materials and other things have not been provided to us as students. So making it very difficult for you to be able to do reading on your own. And we just received a notice from our teachers saying that they fired the strike, that is by withdrawing all services, and this really has come to affect us much, because even from the onset that the strike they declared the strike, you can attest with me that even supervision in the colleges, some of these tutors serve as health tutors, some serve in their various capacities in the colleges, and then students are left on their own fate because there's nobody to regulate their activity. You would hear this tragically lost her life at teaching mind for a student from Atebubu College of Education. If these teachers were in the classroom or in the colleges, this would have been prevented. Even students, level 400 students who are currently living on their own and committed themselves to rental agreements outside the colleges, are left to their fate because there's no supervisor to, and they've made everything they are doing, they are just on their own. So the effects are enormous, and then they are worrying because students have not, for the past 41 days now, students have not had access to education.
Well, the students clearly bearing the brunt of this strike. And that's how we wrap up with Insights this evening. Do stay with us here on News Tonight. We bring you some election-related stories shortly. At GH1 TV, Star FM, and across all our sister stations, we remain your election hub. In some election-related stories this evening, the MPP in the Volta region has condemned what it calls an attack on the University of Health and Allied Sciences and its governing council following the university's decision to honor President Akufo-Addo with an honorary doctorate degree. The university's decision to honor the president has stirred some controversy with the opposition NDC and a concerned Volta youth group calling out the university for engaging in a partisan political move.
At a press conference held in Ho on Wednesday, regional chairman of the MPP, Makafi Kofi Wanya, described the controversies that have greeted the decision by the University of Health and Allied Sciences to honor President Akufo-Addo as shameful and vexatious. He noted that the move is on merit and that the Nana Akufo-Addo government since 2017 has added significant infrastructure to the development of the university, including a yet-to-be-commissioned $60 million project.
Started from scratch, was actually incubated in Kufuor's nurses and doctors' flats, a mother and child facility at Trafalgar, and all they could do was to build an administrative block at the permanent site. You have today is a complete university with befitting facilities. A laboratory complex, 3 lecture halls for School of Medicine, faculty offices for School of Medicine, 1-story building for School of Pharmacy with offices, so-called hostel, 4 separate story building, as of the hostel, 4 separate story building, construction of internal road network, work ongoing.
He accused the NDC of attempting to stir tribal sentiments against the president and the university and challenged them to provide evidence of work done in the university during the Mahama-led administration.
We call on all well-meaning Ghanaians to join us condemn the interference and the threats by the NDC and their surrogates against the administration and the Council of Viewers as backward, ill-advised, and reprehensible. We also call on the security services to be on top of their brief and deal swiftly with all mistrust and deviant behaviors. We wish to assure the university of our solidarity and to urge them to stand by their decision in exercise of their mandate, independence, and academic freedom.
The party is further calling on the security in the region to be on high alert ahead of the ceremony scheduled for Monday, July 29, 2024.
Former Deputy Ashanti Regional Minister Samuel Yao Edusei has declared the Ashanti region as a crucial battleground in the upcoming December 7 general elections. During the presentation of 2 motorbikes to the Bantama constituency, Edusei emphasized that the party is targeting 35% of the votes in the region. He urged all members to rally behind the party's flag bearer, John Dramani Mahama, and its parliamentary candidates. Isaac Justice Bediako has more in this report.
If you look at the way this government has mismanaged the country, we need to double our efforts to rescue the country from this mess that they've created. And it will start from Ashanti region is the battleground. And of course, Bantama is one of the prominent constituencies for our opponents. So we have to put our acts together very well so that we can match them very effectively here, so that it can extend to the entire region. So we have a comprehensive mechanism in place to combat whatever strategy that they have in place to get the vote that they want to get. So that's why we are targeting about 35%. And some of these things that we are doing are what is going to ginger the grounds, motivate them to work harder so that we can achieve the ultimate goal by getting these people out of government. The NDC must avoid complacency. We must stay focused, hit on the economy, because $1 is to 16 Ghana cedis, £1 is to 20 Ghana cedis. This is unpardonable. You cannot use these statistics or whatever figures, economic indicators to get a second term or to bring the 8. They have woefully performed. So I'm entreating all party faithfuls, including former appointees, everybody to get on board and then unite for purpose and to put the country back on track. save the country from where it's going, because where it's going is not good. Public debt is now around 742 billion Ghana cedis. When they came, it was around 122. So if you look at it, they've accrued about 620 billion Ghana cedis of public debt, and they have little to show. All that you are seeing is not, it does not commiserate with the amount of money that they've borrowed so far.
In other election-related stories, a coalition of youth associations known as Group Stand for Peace, Growth and Development are warning the Electoral Commission against acts that will mar the 2024 elections. The EC's chairperson, during an engagement with lawmakers, admonished political parties to accept the result of the elections and not resort to violence due to their disagreement with it. But a group in a statement called on the EC to act as proper referees during the elections, considering the numerous allegations leveled against them, especially from the opposition NDC. Joined via Zoom by Maxwell Adai Mununkum. He is the General Secretary to the group, and he joins us for a conversation on this issue. Maxwell, good evening to you. I believe you're hearing me. It's good to have you here on News Tonight. Now, first of all, do you feel that the EC has shown some form of a sign of bias, the reason for which you, as a group, think it will not conduct a free and fair election?
Well, thank you very much for the opportunity. Let me use your platform to say a very good evening to your cherished viewers and all well-meaning Ghanaians, especially those who are concerned about the protection and preservation of the peace that we have in this country. First of all, it is unfortunate that we heard the comment that the EC chair made regarding the acceptance of the results of the 2024 election. It doesn't lie in the EC chairperson and the referee in the election to indicate that the participants or the contestants in the election should accept the result.
Kindly hold your thoughts briefly. Before you continue, if you can reduce your television volume so that we can hear you. If you can completely reduce it, and then you can carry on with your submission.
Right, so I was saying that it's unfortunate that the EC chair made a comment that she made regarding the acceptance of the results of the 2024 general election.
Right. Now, Maxwell, you say it's unfortunate and that it doesn't lie with the EC to call on lawmakers and political parties, rather, to accept the results of the election. However, yes, we did have the EC chairperson, Jean Mensah, assuring Ghanaians of a free and fair election, and then in addition to that, simply calling on political parties to accept the results. How exactly is that a problem from where you sit?
Well, thank you very much. You know, if you have an electoral commissioner or electoral commission that its actions and inaction is one that leaves much to be desired with respect to fairness and transparency on its part, then the assurances that it gives also leaves more questions than answers. You will recall that somewhere March this year, there was a revelation about some missing DVDs and in the custody of the EC. Initially, what did they say? They told Ghanaians that, oh, no machines are missing. Then the pressure went on. They told us, oh, they are mere laptops that are missing. Until when the public out continued, the EC chair eventually admitted that indeed some 5 DVDs are missing. So if you are a body that is committed to ensuring that the processes leading to the general election are very fair, and then if you yourself have indicated that the DVDs are very critical with respect to the conduct.
Maxwell, thank you for joining us this evening with your thoughts on this issue. Maxwell Adai there, joining us on this development. You're watching News Tonight. Let's turn to some other stories this evening. The Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice wants appropriate steps to be taken to resolve any steps, including legislative ones, that will resolve constitutional concerns raised. According to the Commission, such actions will pave way for the President to immediately assent to the Criminal Offences Amendment Bill 2023. President Akufo-Addo declined to assent to that bill, which seeks to prescribe witchcraft accusations, the Criminal Offences Amendment Number 2 Bill 2023 and the Armed Forces Amendments Bill. He explained that the contents of these bills had his support. However, they needed to be enacted in line with the constitutional and legislative processes. Shraj, in an advice to the presidency, stressed that the bill, if assented to, will help protect the rights of vulnerable women who are accused of being witches. Well, let's stay on this development and engage with Francis Xavier Sosu, Member of Parliament for Medina. He has been championing this bill. Good evening to you. Thank you for joining us here on News Tonight. Now, what are your thoughts on this advice to the President to assent the bill by Shraj? Francis, good evening to you. I believe you're hearing me. I'm asking what your thoughts are on the advice given to the President to assent to this bill.
Very good evening to you and your viewers. I would say that the advice is a welcome one, and we are hoping that the President will go ahead and abide by this advice. Indeed, the advice was prepared based on a petition that we submitted to Shraj for Shraj to intervene to the President to sign this very crucial bill for the protection of them. And so it's a welcome advice. We are hoping that the President will take about that advice.
Now, yes, you say it's welcome advice. In the event, in spite of the advice that it's not assented to, what's going to be your reaction or action to that?
That wasn't very clear because there's some noise before, but I heard it clearly that you said that would be our next line of action. The President will choose to abide by the advice. I'm just hoping that the President will have a data that human rights person has the opportunity to protect them. Right of the most vulnerable people in the country. I'm sure that the President will do it.
Very well. Now, in rounding up, do you have any plans of engaging with the presidency to resolve the constitutional issues with regards to that you have raised? Francis Xavier Sosu, MP for Medina, joining us on that issue. More on it subsequently. You're watching News Tonight. We've got business news next. Business news this evening. Stakeholders at this year's OMI STEM Fair held in the Volta region have called on the government and industry to pay critical attention to the creative innovations of young people. The fair, which was held at the St. Paul Senior High School in Denu, saw the exhibition of some incredible ideas and projects from the participants who were drawn from some basic and senior high schools in that region.
This year's Volta STEM Fair marks the third edition of the program, which is being spearheaded by non-profit organization Opportunity Risk Management Institute. The program, since its inception, has provided the platform for school children to mold their creative and innovative ideas into practical projects in the areas of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. For the 2024 event, which took place at the St. Paul Senior High School in Denu, it was the project of a 17-year-old GHS pupil that caught the attention of most patrons.
I use plastic waste to design the So I can't go and buy the engine. The price is high, so I want to make engine in myself. Before I spark, it's use Ghana card. It's using Ghana card before you can spark it. But like if you don't put Ghana card inside, it can't spark. Unless you put Ghana card inside before it can spark. If you want to drive, you have gear over here. Gear. So if you change the gear, first gear, second, third, fourth, fifth, reverse, neutral, until like if you change the gear system will show the dashboard. I can make it big. I can make it and we can use it in the road, but I don't have materials. That is why I make it small.
Some of the participants have been appealing to government to integrate their projects into solving some of the problems that currently confront the country.
We, the girls, we don't see our AI trash bin to be just any kind, but a symbol of our commitment to technology, innovation and sustainability. We would actually like the Ministry of Sanitation and the National Authority our projects into our societies to help create a better world for future generations to come.
In other business news, the CEO of the National Entrepreneurship Initiative Program, Kofi Ofosu, has advised Kayaye, who have been trained by the government in various vocations, to work hard and improve their lives. He emphasized regular to check their progress after graduation. 600 who underwent the training here in Accra.
The program provided training in various fields, including bead making, makeup artistry, and baking. Each trainee received a starter pack and a startup capital of 1,000 cedis to help them begin their businesses after graduation. Speaking to the media, the CEO of the National Entrepreneurship Initiative Program, NEIP, Kofi Ofosu, enhanced excitement about the program's success. He is optimistic that they will train up to 5,000 women by the end of the year.
There are those who regarded this witness to the success stories of our first cohort and now this second cohort. I can say on authority that some of the girls we trained in the first cohort have already started making their own products for sale, and others are engaged in providing services in manicure, pedicure, makeup, those areas too. The story of a girl who never dreamt of being her own boss can now dream of managing her own business as a chief executive.
Graduates who spoke to GHOne News shared their excitement and optimism about how the program will positively impact their lives moving forward.
Because as a mother, I'm sure power ya de ne mpanyinfo na me sura no pa yesu adwuma bebre wo ha me ba me yedeko yesu enioma bebre na me yeso ya na me ba mu no ma hu ni se adwuma we ye de kama adwuma ne ho a nka na wotie mi a omramu na sa adwuma we bua na dia seda kese pa the Vice President, Dr. Beud Aumia.
Well, that's all the business news we've got for you this evening. Do stay with us. Sports News is next. Tonight, President Akufo-Addo has pledged financial support for FC Samatex as they prepare for their maiden participation in the CAF Champions League. The league champions of Ghana paid a courtesy call on the president at the Jubilee House to present him campaign in Africa. Samatex begin their journey in Africa against Cameroonian champions Victoria United on August 16. The president pledged to support the team and congratulated them for winning the league.
For me, but I'm very happy for you. I want to congratulate all of you, the chief and Mr. Manager, business developer, captain, and the players, all of you, on a great achievement. And you're about to go now into. It's been some time since we had a winner on the continental tournaments, and perhaps we have the opportunity to be that. But we must all support you. And I think that the demand you're making, continental in a journey, is not misplaced. Between the Minister for Youth, as Minister, we'll see what we can do to help. But help, we must help. Yeah.
Well, next on News Tonight, we bring you entertainment news. Today in our Throwback Thursday feature, we journey back to during the 1990s and its enduring impact on today's fashion. Desk presents this feature focusing on patterns and unique continuity of Ghanaian culture. Up with News Tonight here on GHOne TV. Do visit our website, starfm.com.gh, for lots more news. It was produced by Musa Lanza. I'm Natalie Fort. Have a restful evening.